If I hear the phrase, it's what he would have wanted, one more time, I am going to absolutely hit the roof. In this video, I'm going to explain to you the way that the police and politicians, Keir Starmer, and indeed Alexis Boone, the Chief Constable of Hampshire, what a wrong-un that guy is, by the way, how they are attempting to bully and manipulate the family of Henry Nowak. In order to understand this story, you've got to understand a little bit about how political operations work and how press offices work and how political security works in terms of communications, all the sort of stuff that I used to do when I was involved in politics. But don't worry, I didn't do any of the morally reprehensible stuff I'm about to explain to you. I just was aware that it existed. There have been lots and lots of people talking about the death of Henry Nowak. This video is going to be the most important one you have watched. I'm not going to bother telling you to like, subscribe, follow, donate, anything like that. I'm going to ask you to do one simple thing. Please do try and forward this video around. Also, if you can comment, that really helps because the algorithm will send it to more people because people need to hear what I'm about to tell you in this video. So, first and foremost, there's been a curious piece of behaviour, hasn't there, from Henry Nowak's family. They read out this very measured statement, so measured it could almost have been written by the Hampshire Police Press Office. No, sorry, it clearly was written by them. What has happened is this distraught family going through the trial of the person that murdered their son are absolutely all over the place. So the police have allocated them some victim liaison officers, which is lobby for the police officers. I mean, they are genuine police officers with genuine counselling skills, but part of their job is to manage the victim's family to ensure the police get the best outcome for them. Now, part of that outcome is the conviction of the criminal, which is a good thing, but it's also to protect their reputation. And I guarantee you, point number one, that statement by Mark Nowak was written, at least in conjunction with the family liaison officers and by extension, the communications office of Hampshire Constabulary. So that is why we have this odd situation where they are venomous in private about banning Sikhs carrying ceremonial weapons. Yet in public, we hear this very, very nice and polite whatever. And apparently they're saying they don't want their son dragged into a political battle. Well, that's what we've been told that the Nowak family is saying. And yet they published that body cam footage. They know that that body cam footage is incendiary. They knew that Hampshire Constabulary would never have wanted that to come out. Hampshire Constabulary, the family liaison officers will have told them, well, if you publish that, it might prejudice any investigation into the officers concerned, all that usual flannel. And clearly, Mark Nowak has overridden it. What has happened is, time and time again, Hampshire Constabulary, under Alexis Boone, wrong-un, have deliberately sat on this family and said, well, do you want to be responsible for violence? Do you want to promote the far right? And of course, these people are sort of all over the place. And in so doing, they are bullying them. Let's just be clear. First of all, what Mark Nowak actually is telling politicians in private. I know this because I've watched all the videos. And when you pull back the flannel of his statement, which was all sweetness and light, don't look back in anger, let's sing Kumbaya, light a candle, all that usual stuff that we've heard so many times. But then when you pull back what politicians have said, he has made a number of points clear. Number one, he wants Richard Hermer to appeal the sentence for his son's killer. 21 years minimum means the guy will be, what, about 40 when he gets out? I don't think that's appropriate. The guy was given less than the minimum. And that is why he's kicking off in private. Next point, he wants all ceremonial weapons banned from the streets. Nobody is repeating the fact that he's saying that, but nonetheless, he's saying it. Next, he wants the police officers involved to be suspended and properly investigated. Next, he doesn't want, this is the point that people miss, he doesn't want it all to be a debate about his son. And I'll tell you the reason. Right, he's been completely misrepresented, this guy. Right, remember, Dickweed, or whatever his name is, contends in court that Henry is in fact a racist who is shouting abuse and all this sort of thing. Now, the Snapchat proves that's not true, But what Mark Nowak doesn't want is not he doesn't want to debate about knife crime on the street. It's not that he doesn't want to debate about racist police officers. It's not that he doesn't want a debate on two-tier policing. He doesn't want to debate on whether his son is a racist. And he doesn't realise, because the police won't tell him, that that is not the debate. Henry Nowak's Snapchat showed exactly what he said. He saw Vikram Digwi with a machete, not machete, a big Sikh knife, and he said, "Oh my God, are you a bad person?" And that was why he got stabbed 5 times in the chest. Now, once again, this is the bullying of Hampshire Constabulary. They should be telling Mark Nowak there is no danger of the Sikh community coming forward and calling your son a racist. Nobody believes the story that Vikram's brother gave to the police over the phone, and he has not been told that. And that is why he is not going public, making all of his comments. And of course, when you realise what they're saying to him about, we don't want your son's name dragged through the mud, you then realise why he read out that bizarre statement. And the statement was bizarre, wasn't it? Because, of course, he stood up. His son has been murdered with a ceremonial knife, and he's standing up saying the most important thing. Well, sorry, let's go back a step. His son's been murdered with a ceremonial knife, and the police have arrested him for being murdered. And as he's choking on his own blood, he spits forth the words, "I've been stabbed, I can't breathe." And Mark Nowak, bizarrely, seems to think in his statement the number one concern is to point out that his son had Sikh friends and wouldn't want any race riots. That makes a great deal more sense when you realise the lies and dishonesty of Alexis Boone and the Hampshire Constabulary, as I've just told you. Because if you then think, well, hang on a second, this guy's been told that his son's going to be branded a racist if he goes public, then that explains the statement. I think that what has happened here continues to be shameful. Alexis Boone should resign. You know what? Let's lock up Alexis Boone. This guy's an absolute nightmare. But he is presiding over a force now who is continuing to bully, racially bully, in my view, the family of Henry Nowak, because they're not willing to tell them that just because they're nice middle-class white people, people will not believe they're racist. They're telling them people will believe you're racist, therefore you've got to be measured. Now, who is it? Who in the world, if you don't believe me when I tell you all this, who in the world doesn't want their son's name to be dragged through, doesn't want their son's case to be debated, and yet appeals to Harmer, releases the body cam and meets every politician that's willing to talk to them? The reality is they're not willing to drive the media narrative because they've been frightened off doing it by Hampshire Constabulary, but they very much want a debate about ceremonial knives. They very much want to debate about random killings. They very much want to debate about the behaviour of the police. And when they were told, oh, well, if you release the body cam, it'll prejudice it, that wasn't true. They didn't want the body cam footage released for the same reason they haven't suspended the police officers, because this cuts to the heart of everything. This is not about one young man. This is not about one Sikh guy with a knife. This is about an entire system that has been built in order to believe in all cases allegations of racism and to prioritise them before everything else. And what the police liaison and what the chief constable and what Keir Starmer and what all of these people are doing is attempting to placate this family so they don't go public and tell the truth. But of course, it doesn't matter, because let me make a point to you. Make a point. Did you hear a squeak of a complaint from Mark Nowak about the protest in Southampton? Did you hear a squeak of a complaint from Mark Nowak about Tommy Robinson? Did you hear a squeak of a complaint from Mark Nowak about Nigel Farage? Did you hear him complain about any of these people? No, you did not. When he was invited to Downing Street, the hope was that he would make a statement on the steps, speak to the press and say, well, I've spoken to the Prime Minister, I agree with him, he's marvellous. He didn't do any of that. Let me be clear. Whilst Mark Nowak is being controlled, at least to some extent, it's only to some extent. The man has created a firestorm actually, that's unfair. Releasing the video, the body cam video, created a firestorm. Hampshire police knew it would create a firestorm, and Mark has done it anyway. This man is a great British patriot. He is allowing us to do the heavy lifting, and I think that that is a fair thing to do. But I want to also say, shame on Hampshire police who continue to attempt to handle and control this man. I am telling you what they're all interested in is the number one issue is to not stop DEI, is the number one issue, and number two issue, to not question foreign cultures. Now, we've never questioned Sikhism in the UK before, and the reason is very clear, because they carry the knife, because historically their areas were invaded by Muslim invaders, and they are against the spread of radical Islam, which in the context of modern Britain makes them kind of on our side. But fundamentally, you know, Sikhism is a foreign religion to the United Kingdom. And of course, we've never questioned the central idea of whether Britain should remain a Christian country. Well, I've told you all about claiming the dead. It's what he would have wanted. I've told you all about the way police liaison will handle these people. I've explained to you now, and I hope you've understood why the statement and the actions of Mark Nowak seem to be in contradiction. Some people in the comment section are going to say, Andre, you don't know what you're on about. You've never spoken to Mark Nowak. That's true. You've never met Alexis Boone. That's true. All I've done is looked at the totality of what has happened that we know, that's all in the public domain, and then I've said to you what I think as a former press officer. And by the way, I was a press officer at London City Hall, at the House of Commons, at the European Parliament. I was also a lobby correspondent for the New York Observer and indeed for Breitbart, and I'm now at News UK. I think I've got a fair degree of knowledge, and I say to you that Mark Nowak is on our side. He agrees with what people like Tommy Robinson and Nigel Farage are saying, but he is being bullied by Hampshire Constabulary. It's not really working though, is it, Alexis? Oh, by the way, to Alexis Boone, we need rid of him. If you want to fight for ordinary patriotic people, you can subscribe to this and you can hit the bell notification icon. You can donate to the Patreon Fund. I've got a video coming up in a couple of minutes which is all about the way that there is two-tier policing. It's a really egregious example. If you stick on the channel, I'll tell you all about that. The other thing I was going to say to you was this. You've got to watch me taking the knee, which is also on the channel. I'll put the link to that in the description. Until next time, goodbye.